All right, shalom, family. Most High in Christ bless you all. Happy Sabbath. Okay, happy Sabbath to myself. Damn, you guys don't have no manners. Happy Sabbath. Israel, boy. Damn. Say Most High in Christ bless you. Like, yeah, nigga. All right, today's class is entitled Evicting Vagabonds. The earth was made for all sakes. We're going to do a lot of reading. Time is limited, so I don't know if I'm going to fit this into one class, but if not, we'll make it two. We're going to begin in the book of Deuteronomy 22. We're going to read the whole chapter, one thought, all right? The whole chapter straight through. I need you to kind of speed it up, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm not going to stop you. Let's go.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 1. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost things of thy brothers which he hath lost, and thou hast found. Thou shalt do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way, in any tree, or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take them, the dam with the young. But thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, and take the young to thee, and it may be well with thee, that thou mayest prolong thy days. When thou buildest a new house, when thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, thou bring not blood upon thine house, and any man fall from thence. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown, and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled. Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sort, as of woolen and linen together. Thou shalt make thee fringes upon the four quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasion of speech against her, and bring her up an evil name upon her, and say, I take this woman, and when I come to her, I found her not a maid. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter to this man to wife, and he hated her. And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. Then they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elder of the city shall take the man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought an evil name upon the virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, and may not put her away all his days. But this thing be true, and the token of virginity be not found for the damsel. Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house. The men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she died, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones, that they die. The damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So shalt thou put away evil from among you. Verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die, but not the damsel. Thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her, and he may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
So, I know it seems like it's a bunch of different thoughts there about dealing with animals, women dressed out of order, men dressed out of order, about fruits, diverse seed, mixed garments, about marriage, dealing with wives, but it's one thought. And I'm going to bring it all circle back to evicting the vagabonds. The vagabonds that we're talking about right now is who ruling the earth. Job 9:24. I want you to read for me Job 9:24. Razio. I'm sorry, Razis. Lahad. I want you to read for me Amos 3.
Yes, sir. This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Stop real quick. Lahad, read for me 2nd Ezra 6. I'm sorry. So read it again.
Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof.
Who's ruling the earth today? Esau, the white man. He rules the earth today. It says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. I want you to listen to the subtleties of words. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Who gave the earth into the hand of the wicked? Who knows the answer? Nobody. Okay, officer. The Most High God gave the earth into the hand of the wicked, and the reason why is because we disobeyed God. Read Deuteronomy 28. I'm not saying go to it now, but read it. Because we to serve the Lord with joyfulness and gladness for all things, therefore we're going to serve our enemies. God turned the earth over to them to rule it. So it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he, who is the wicked, covered the faces of the judges thereof. How did they cover the faces of the judges? They gave us the lying image, the deceitful image of Christ being white, Moses being white, the prophets being white. White is right. They changed this Bible around. They changed the minds of the people around to believe that the images of God and Christ and the prophets were all white. That's called deception, to deceive the minds of the people, right? So initially, who was the earth for? If it was given to the hand of the wicked, who was it made for initially? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. I want you to read, I forgot, like 50-something. Give me a second.
54?
Yeah, I'm not there, but if you know it, just go there real quick. 2nd Ezra 6, verse 54.
2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
Read on.
All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
He said, we know that God made the world for our sakes. The world that you see today was made, it was tailored. Can you take that little bit extra out this mic? Because this mic, a lot of God made the world was tailored and made for us. Let me ask you a question. If you go to a tailor and he makes a suit for you, he takes specific measurements on your shoulder, on your back, your chest, your stomach, that it's made to only fit you. If somebody else puts on that suit that's tailored for you, it will not fit them right. You understand that? So if he made the world for our sakes, it was tailored and made for us to do what? To rule the earth. So if anybody else is ruling the earth, it will not work properly. So now what does that have to do with Deuteronomy 22? That is the question. I want you to read real quick. Read Amos 3 and 7 now.
Amos chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord God would do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets.
He will only reveal his secrets to his servants the prophet. It will only be the Israelite man, his prophets, that will understand and be able to open up the word of God and bring clarity to the message written within. Here's a simple one that everybody should understand. Christ is black. It seems very simple for us to understand, but do you know there's millions, if not billions, of people on earth that in 2021 they still think Christ is white? Or some of them say he didn't have a color? How is that? That stuff sounds odd to us. When we talk like, what do you mean you don't understand it? It doesn't matter. It was written in the book. Well, that's your interpretation. What do you get? It's in my interpretation. He said, I'm black. Well, no. It's transfiguration, all kind of other stuff that's absurd talk. Because it's not meant for some people to understand. Listen to this. This Bible has a spirit on it. It ain't a regular book. This earth that we have has a spirit on it. The animals have spirits on them. You have a spirit on you. Everything has a spirit. It is made with God's wisdom. So he says back in Amos 3, what?
Surely the Lord God would do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets.
So in other words, what he's saying is that if you are not his servants the prophets, which are his people, the Israelites, that he chose, don't want to go through that right now, but if you're not them, you will never fully understand this Bible. If you're not them, you can never fully run this earth properly. Thus that we're in this decrepit place we call this world today. So let's now circle back to Deuteronomy 22. And then we're going to come back to you vagabonds in a second. Check. I want you to start with verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 1. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it.
Now watch this. Why is it talking about animals? What are we talking about? When the righteous are in authority, the righteous know how to operate. These are simple laws on building a nation and keeping a nation intact. You cannot have a nation sustainable if we're not moving in a spirit of humanity, humility, one towards another. So I'm going to make it in layman's terms, what God is saying here. If you have an animal, or if you have property, and by chance you lose it, it is my responsibility or your responsibility to hold it, to care for it, that when that person comes looking for it, you can restore it unto them again. This world's not like that today. You could lose your wallet with your ID, your phone number, your address, your social security card, a map to your front door, and that will never come back to you on the most part. That's why this place, I'm saying, the vagabond that's ruling this earth, he's not executing God's righteousness, which he couldn't do it anyway because the laws were only given to us. He wouldn't know how to do it even if he wanted to. But God made it clear to us to know that if your brother's animal get lost, I want you to read verse 2.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 2. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not.
You don't have to, do me a favor, Lahad. Stay where you are. You're going to continue reading. Give me Leviticus 6. So it says, if thy brother is not nigh unto thee, he doesn't live close, or you don't even know him. Read on.
Then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again.
So now imagine this. Your animal or your property is lost. I don't even know you, but I found it. I know it's not mine, and I take care of it. I'm feeding it. I'm making sure it's healthy. And then a month or two later, you come looking. listen, I lost this animal, I lost something of mine, I lost my iPhone, whatever it might be. And when you come, I said, oh, I have it, and it's well taken care of. When you see it, you're like, imagine back then, you lost your animal, and 3 weeks later, a month later, you come looking, and your animal's still fat, it still looks healthy, and I return it unto you. But I didn't know you prior to that. I don't know who you are. What just happened between you and I when I returned that animal to you? You just built a connection with that man. That man's perception of you is, yo, this is a good man. He's a decent man. The nations wouldn't know how to rule this earth. If we want to rule this earth, we must move according to the will of God. So now what happens? I return your animal to you. Now it's like, oh, brother, man, I really appreciate that. Now later on, if you see me or if something come around, you're like, I remember him. Hey, 6 years later, I see you in town someplace. Hey, I remember you, man. How you been? All right. This is my wife. This is my son, and this is my family. Oh, nice to meet you all. Automatically, there's a connect made. Oh, yeah, well, this is my wife. This is my daughter. This is my family. Oh, nice. Well, she's of age. My son is of age. He's of good stock. That's a reputable man. It might breed us making a family together. That's how you build nations. There must be a level of humanity and respect for one another. When we read this, normally we read Deuteronomy 22 and 5 about wearing pants, but we miss that there's other messages in this. These vagabonds don't move like that. Now read on. Real quick. We're going to come back here. Go to Leviticus 6. Hold this. We come right back here. Leviticus 6. Start with verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or have deceived his neighbor, or have found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and sweareth falsely, in any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein.
So now, if you stole something, if you received something of your neighbor that was not yours, but you have it, and you lie when he come looking for it. I don't know what you're talking about. You drop your wallet, you pick up, yo, I saw that wallet. Anybody see a wallet? No, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. It says what? What's the next verse?
Then it shall be, because he has sinned and is guilty.
He has sinned. Who has he sinned against? Nobody? Huh? He sinned against God. Very good. Let's go up to verse 2.
Verse 2. If a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord.
You're doing this against the Lord. Even though it's your brother stuff, the Lord said, you sin against me because I've given you instruction on how to deal. You have no regard to what I'm telling you. Jump back down to verse 4.
Verse 4. Then it shall be, because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he had deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found.
Right. Whatever he found, he stole, it says you are guilty. You shall restore it back to that man. Read on.
Or all that about which he has sworn falsely. He shall even restore it, the principal, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth.
So God said you got to restore back whatever you took plus 20%. We understand in the courts today, the Most High had a system set up. He says, verse 6.
Verse 6. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, a ram without blemish, out of the flock, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering unto the priest.
He says, and after you give your back the price of what you have plus 20%, now you have to bring an offering to the Lord, a ram to be killed. God wants something to die for lying, for stealing, for dealing deceitfully with your brother. That's why it says, no liar shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Somebody's going to die. But here the Most High said, give 20%. Oops. The Most High said, give 20% back, and something has to die for that. that's because you weren't dealing justly with your brother. That is against building back up of a nation. If we're a nation of people trying to build a nation and we're sneaking and lying to each other and taking stuff violently and to see, how do you build something righteous? This whole country, America, was built on thievery, on deceit. This kingdom cannot stand. Do you all understand that? He's going to be evicted eventually. The righteous is going to have to come back in authority, in place, to make this earth run properly, because it wasn't tailored for them in the first place. Go back to Deuteronomy 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 3. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost thing of thy brothers, which he hath lost, and thou shalt found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself.
Go to Exodus chapter 23 real quick, verses 4.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 4.
Hey, Lahad, when I call scripture, if you're not holding one, you take the next scripture, right? So, okay, read that, 23 and 4.
If thou meet thy enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him.
Now what? What verse was that? That was 5? Yes, sir. Right. So now watch this. It says, if thou meetest thy enemy ox or his ass going astray. The enemy is the enemy of your people. 1 Samuel tells you that, another class of the time. It says, if you meet the enemy, if thou meet thine enemy's ox or ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. I want you to try to get the wisdom behind it. And I'm explaining the enemy part, because some people go too far with a Christian mind, and I'm going to get to the second. Me and you are at odds. We don't really get along. Remember, we're building a nation of people. Not everybody's going to be best friends. For whatever reasons, we already don't gel together. Yeah. A little closer? All right. Me and you already don't gel together, but we're right here. It's telling you, even though you hate me, I'm still supposed to deal right with you. So now try to wrap your mind around this. Me and you don't really mix. But you lost your animal, and I brought it to you. I see that your animal fell by the way. Me and you don't get along, but you lost your iPhone. You dropped your wallet, and I bring that back to you. What should trigger you? Zion? Just talk. Yes, person who lost it. Right. You're in your mind like, damn, he's dealing with me right. Man, I can't stand, but you know what? Look how he's dealing with me. That's to do what? Foster unity. It don't mean we're going to be best friends, but still, irregardless of how your mind thinks, you're going to apply God's wisdom. This is why it says in Deuteronomy 4 and 6 or 6 and 4, what a wise and understanding people when they look at us. Because irregardless, we know how to move as a nation of people. Listen, we don't get along, whatever, but I'm not going to deal with this brother unjustly. God said, if he's my enemy, still deal with him right. Now, watch this, so people don't go too far to the left. Hold Deuteronomy 22, go to Romans 12. Let's get a little more clarity on the enemy part of how you deal. Romans 12, and I want you to read this. 12. I thought I wrote this down.
Verse 9.
No, give me 1 second. Just bear with me. Rejoicing in hope and tribulation. Verse 20.
Romans chapter 12, verse 20. Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head.
Now it says, if thy enemies hunger, feed him. If he thirsts, give him to drink. So in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. He's telling you, deal right with your enemy, because if he doesn't deal right with you, it's going to be his judgment. Now, people say, well, your enemy means that you feed people that dealt with you wrong. Let's go back up in the chapter. I want you to read verse 10.
Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly, affectionate one to another, with brotherly love, and honor preferring one another.
Verse 13.
Verse 13. Distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality.
Verse 14.
Verse 14. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not.
So this is talking about brothers that's in the body with you. This ain't talking about enemies that left and they're out there trying to, listen to me, if a brother's out there that tried to kill you, trying to destroy you, that's not talking about him. That's talking about brothers that's within the body of this congregation. That's why I read the part when it says, verse 13.
Verse 13. Distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. Be kindly affectionate one to another.
Who's one to another? Verse 20.
Verse 20. Therefore, if thy enemy hunger.
So who's that talking about? Within the body of people that you fellowship with. You're not going to get along with everybody. That don't mean somebody trying to kill you and you see the ox fall on the way and you go pull up next to them to help the ox. The nigga was just trying to kill you. People read this and go too far and they start dealing with it. Nah, if you left this body right here, it ain't talking about you. I'll be damned if I'm going to give a hand to somebody that was trying to destroy me. That don't mean that. Don't go too far, okay? All right, let's go back so we get some more understanding. Back to Deuteronomy 22. For Lahad, go Luke 6:32.
Deuteronomy.
No, I want you to read verse 3.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 3. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost things of thy brothers, which he hath lost, and thou shalt found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself.
You must give it back. Go to Luke 6:32.
The book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 32. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil.
Right. God is kind to the unthankful and the evil. So what he's saying here? If you do good to people that do good to you, then what's the big deal? But those of them that's not dealing with you right, but they're amongst the body, not dealing right, it's saying still deal right with them. All this, back to the whole thing, is governing the earth. It's us governing this land. What happened? We became like the world. You do bad to me, I render evil for evil. That's Romans 12. We just came out that chapter. I'm a deal. You can't build a nation like that. What you got to do is be right with that person, heap holes of fire upon their head, that God will bring the judgment if they're not right. No. Why do you think America's imploding on itself right now? What do you think happened in Washington, D.C. when they stormed the White House? Because they're not righteous people, so they're going to fight against themselves. And we, the prophets, will sit back and watch them implode and wait for the opportunity to take back our place. And then we're going to implement God's laws. Because we didn't do it the first time right. That's why and we are telling you this, and they still ain't going to figure it out. You know why? It ain't meant for them to figure out. He revealeth his secrets unto his prophets, the servants. Okay. What verse do we fear of?
Verse 35.
Okay, jump back. verse 4.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 4. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again.
Right. So now you can't see your brother's ox or ass fall down by the way and hide thyself. That's like me driving on the road and I see your car pulled over and you struggling right there and I go, oh, snap, hey, shalom, keep moving. What just happened? You look at that, like, damn, my brother just left me here. He see me like that? And imagine the person who you left standing there. You're like, I don't like me and him ain't cool. God said, listen, I made you few of numbers to grow you into a nation. You're not growing if you see like that. Give me 1 John 3. 1 John 3:16.
1 John chapter 3, verse 16.
Read.
Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us.
Listen what it says. Perceive ye the love of God. Can you understand what the love of God really is? People don't understand what the love of God is. That he did what?
Because he laid down his life for us.
He laid down his life for us. That's how we perceive the love of God. That we understand, damn, this man came and he gave his life for us and died for our sins. There's no greater love than that. Read on.
And we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren.
And we ought to lay down our life for the brethren. It says, charity thinketh not of its own. Read on.
But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him.
Stop. The bowels of compassion that Christ saw was what? That these people will be a stink off the earth if I don't die for them. God ain't going to deal with them. The bowels of compassion, if you see your brother right there is a need, and you're like, that's his problem. No, I'm not helping him. He said, you can't hide yourself. That's your conscience if you hide yourself from your brother. Forget if your brother even see you. God sees you. You have the means and the capability of helping somebody. Do you know something? On a small level, I want you to understand, even though these nations can't govern the earth, they understand it. How do you think Moab came to America and succeeded? You think they came here with money? Man was broke. I'm going to tell you something. You may not believe this. A lot of Amalek came to America and was broke and poor. But one thing they had was bowels of compassion one toward another. They would take them in. You come here. You move here. Ming Lee, you and your family move in here, all 48 of y'all. Don't worry about it. We'll all put together and buy rice. We'll eat. We all 48 of us will go out to go to work. We'll save our money. You know what? You open a vegetable stand. I'm going to open a Chinese restaurant. You open a box company. You open a meat company. You make soy sauce. When I'm ready to open my restaurant, I'm going to buy the meat from you. I'm going to buy the soy sauce from you. I'm going to buy the vegetable from you. You got the trucking company. You move it. Then when he got the trucking company needs food, he eats at my restaurant. He needs meat. He buys from that place, and they build an economic with them. And that's how they rose up here. Not us. They understood that on a small level. So you see a brother fall by the way, and here you have no compassion. Read on.
How dwelleth the love of God in him, my little children.
I'm not start to read the whole verse again.
But whoso, 1 John chapter 3, verse 17. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him?
How dwelleth the love of God in you? Christ said, they shall know you are my disciples if you love one another. That's when the nation's going to look at us and say, wow, these people are different. How they move. They have care. We know they got issues, but guess what? They don't allow their issues to taint the bigger picture. It's the growing back of the nation. As long as they keep us in disarray and disorder and God's laws not being implemented, we cannot grow as a nation. And in the midst of them, we're growing as a nation when God's laws are applied. Plain and simple. Read on.
My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth.
Most High said there got to be an action. There must be an action. If you see a brother's ox fall by the way, don't hide yourself. Get involved. You know something's being wrong. Listen, your brother found the brother's phone. No. Give that brother's phone back, man. No. I'm speaking up. We see, I tell you, I've seen this congregation and I've seen this truth, and I hope we're getting better. Brothers and sisters have to reach out to their worldly family to help them raise their children. And in the body, they don't bring because they can't depend on each other. It'd be a gang of sisters in the congregation, and they would go to their mama who smoked Newport 100s and drinking tall cans of reserve steel. One little oscillating fan, and they would go to her before they go to each other in this truth. Shame on y'all. Shame on the sister that's going to them, and shame on y'all for not saying, nah, sis, don't do that. Bring that baby here. We got you. You sit home doing that anyway. You on Facebook and Instagram anyway. It ain't like you doing anything. You don't cook. I'm not talking about you sisters here. Hopefully. Deuteronomy 22. Let's go back. So now what does all that have to do with verse 5?
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So now verses 1 through 4 is how you deal to build and foster relationships for the point of building a nation. Everybody on the same page? With those things implemented, we'll know how to govern and have the spirit of humanity, humility towards one each other, how to leave something in course. Because what we're building, it's not for right now. It's for the generations to come. It's not for my time alone, but it's for my children's time. That they know how to govern themselves, and they teach their children for those children's time. Do you know something on another level? Esau understood that. Without the laws. But do you think back in 1776, when they was writing the Declaration of Independence with, I was going to say Malcolm X, I mean George Washington and these guys, do you understand that they set up the groundwork for their generation to rule the earth today? They weren't still in their time period. They weren't going to see a lot. They was fighting France and Britain, or Britain back then, I should say, fighting Britain for independence, Tea Party, and all that foolishness. But they were fighting for the groundwork so their kids and their children, their generations could rule the earth today. They were setting themselves up in place back then. Watch this. We're going to go, stay right here before we read 5. Go to Deuteronomy 4, verse 40. Watch this. Going back to building something for the future.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 40. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children.
And with what?
And with thy children after thee.
Read on.
And that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth.
Thy days, I'm talking about not just your life, but your nation. That you keep these commandments for you and for thy children's sake. That's talking about building back a nation or holding on to what you have. That you're doing it for the long haul. You see the long-term vision. Esau understood that, and these other nations understood it on a small level. God is saying, with my wisdom, if you know how to deal with your brothers, you can prolong your days and your children's days on the earth. You can leave. I don't want to die on this earth and leave my children to know that, oh, all we have to look forward to is captivity. Okay, we may not get out here in my time, but I want you guys set in place. And guess what? You may say, I may not get out here in your time, but I'm going to set my children in place. That eventually my name, when I'm going on this earth, will be ruling one day. I may not be there, but damn it, in my line, somebody's going to be there. Or I can leave you right back here to smoking weed and teach you how to roll blunts. Dudes be smoking drugs with their kids. Yo, son, roll that blunt for me. Gosh, man. We're not getting out here like that. So read that verse one more time.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 40. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth, which the Lord thy God giveth thee forever.
God, that you might prolong thy days upon the earth, which God gave us. The earth was, I hope you all understand when God said he made the world for our sakes. If it wasn't for us, listen, if it wasn't for the repentant Israelites right now, this world would have ceased already. It's only because of the oath God made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that this earth even exists. So this little right here in San Antonio and whatever cities right now, God is holding to this earth because of us. We're that remnant that's going to be that seed that's going to grow back into a nation. But there must be certain things set in place to build the nation right. One, you got to know how to deal with each other, how to be honest and deal true with each other to building back. That being said, read Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So now what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Who want to give me a hand? Help me understand that. Young man, go ahead. Oh, very good. Okay, very good, very good. And men have to be in order. So what does cross-dressing have to do with, how does cross-dressing affect us not being in order? Okay, give me some more. You're right. And how does that, what does that have to do with us building a nation? No, you same brother. Some of what you said was, you was on it, but you're missing the point I'm trying to get to. Right here. Okay. Here we go. The whole thing on dealing right, us dealing right, is the building back of the nation, right? Okay, let's do this real quick. Go to Sirach 19. Watch this. I know when you read this chapter, you think it's a bunch of different thoughts. No, it's one thought. Verse 29.
Sirach chapter 19, verse 29. A man may be known by his look, and one that hath understanding by his countenance when thou meetest him. A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is.
Right. It says a man's attire, his laughter, and his gait show what he is. So it says, a man should not wear that with pertaineth unto a woman. Neither shall a woman put on a man's garment, right? Back then, a man, or even today, Lord Jesus, a man in a dress, you automatically think what? Huh? Say it. He's what? He's gay, right? So I'm going to show you how that's against nation building if you don't understand reproduction. If a man is running up in another man's behind, you're never going to produce a baby. A nation can't grow. If homosexuality, lesbianism rules this earth, the human race ceased to exist. So if a man is dressed like a woman, it's telling you that he's gay. Or at best, he's effeminate, and he will not receive the kingdom of heaven. It is counterproductive to building a nation. You understand that? Now, concerning the woman. Today, women wear pants, and it's like not that they're gay or lesbian, but I'm going to tell you what the Bible says concerning that. Baruch 6. Baruch 6 and 11. Watch this.
Baruch
I want you to start a little higher. Start with verse. I'll start with verse 10.
Baruch chapter 6, verse 10. Sometimes also the priests convey from their gods gold and silver, and bestow it upon themselves. Yea, they would give thereof to the common harlots. To the common harlots. Yea, they would give thereof to the common harlots, and deck them as men with garments.
So look at, yea, they will give thereof to the common harlots. What? The jewelry. And it says, and deck them as men. So when women wore pants, is because they were being dressed to look like men. Do you understand that? Today you could say it's, women say, oh, it's feminine pants. No. It was idolatry back then. So now they would dress the women to look like men. The scripture says a man's attire show you what he is. His gait show you what he is. So that spirit on a woman wearing pants is out of order. It is counterproductive to building back a nation. But in this world today, where do you think the women wearing pants movement came from? It was a lesbian movement that started that. It was the women's movement that started that. It was a bunch of lesbians, carpet munchers, that started the pants. And an ungodly custom grown strong today is like that. Hey, sisters, let me give you one better. If you are dressed in pants, at best, and you're supposedly heterosexual, men are looking for you for one thing only. You dress negative, you dress like a whore, you're going to be treated like a whore. Expect to find a whoremonger. Women wearing that to show off their shapes, and that's not to bring about godly seed to building back a nation. That's me being kind in it. God said the spirit behind that was to make and put the spirit of a man upon you. Again, that's that strange apparel we read about in Zephaniah. So I'm going to go back and Deuteronomy 22 real quick. 1 through 4 was about morality and how to deal with each other. Verse 5 plays intricately, as far as nation building, about structure and order in dressing. Being like that is counterproductive to the building back of a nation, right? Now let's see verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 6. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young, but thou shalt in any wise let the dam go and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee.
So now help me understand, brothers. Help me get what's being said here. Anybody want to try? Young man? How's that fall in line to what we're talking about?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm so similar.
Well, if you're not sure, then how are you going to answer my question?
Brother Miles, shalom. So when you find a bird, right? If it's a grown bird, if you let it go, it can go and make more eggs. But if you take the bird and the eggs, it's not gonna propagate or whatever. It's not gonna go.
Very good. Propagate. How old are you?
I'm 15.
Very good. You know what propagate. That's good. Very good. He's a smart young man. It's good. Right. You're very right. Now, very good answer. The Most High is showing us, let me say, in this earth today, because we're not ruling it, is the reasons we have these problems today. Oh, they got that problem. We about to get up out of here. So it is what it is. All praises. But very good. Watch this. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way, and any tree or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitteth upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young. But thou shalt in any wise let the dam go and take the young, that it might be well with thee, and thou mayest prolong thy days. Remember we read that well with thee in Deuteronomy 4 and prolong your day. Well with thee and who else? And who else? And who else? Right. It be well with thee and with thy children. That you see the young, you take the young, but leave the dam that it can reproduce. Right? Esau and the other nations don't understand that. That's why you have cloning today. Watch this real quick. They don't understand that. That's why you have, go to Obadiah real quick. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15. We're going to come right back here.
Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen.
Upon who?
All the heathen.
Upon all the heathen. Read on.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee.
As thou hast done, heathen, is going to be done unto you. Read on.
Thy reward shall return upon thy own head.
It says your reward is going to return upon thy own head.
For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually.
We are his holy mountain. Read on.
Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
And the house of Jacob will possess their possession. What verse was that you stopped at?
Verse 17.
Read on.
Verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble.
And so now the point I want to get to is that it's talking about Esau, that we're clear, right? Read on.
And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
They're going to be cut off. Why is all this is happening? Watch this. Let's go back up into the chapter. Let's start with verse 5.
Obadiah chapter 1, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
Would they what?
Would they not leave some grapes?
Would not they leave some grapes? Read on.
How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
So listen what it's saying. Wouldn't when a person robbed, they leave something behind? Esau doesn't understand that. We understood that with our animals, we knew how to deal with them. They, in this earth, when they're ruling, animals, creatures, plants become extinct because of the way they operate. They wouldn't leave the dam and the young. They would take both. So, in that, what happens? They have to begin to clone. Watch this. We're going to go back. We'll read about this vagabond real quick. Watch this. I want you to read back with that young. And then who's going to read about in Deuteronomy 22? So I want you to get from me Lahad. I want you to give me Proverbs 12 and 10. And Sirach 7:22. Check.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 6. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree, or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young, or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young, but thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayst prolong thy days.
Now read Proverbs 12 and 10.
Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast.
A righteous man will regard the life of his beast. Read on.
But the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
But the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. They would take the damned and the young. We understood the difference. We regard the life of our beast. I want you to read Sirach 7:22.
Sirach, chapter 7, verse 22. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them, and that they be for thy profit, keep them with thee.
It says, hast thou cattle? Have an eye for them. Take care of them. Why? That it might prolong thy days. So why are they running out of food? What's happening today that there's no food on the earth? Somebody help me understand why. Why is there not enough food on the earth today? Or animals? Nobody?
Shalom, leadership, Brother Devontae. It's because they're overkilling. They're just killing to kill and not really conserving or saving up food.
Okay, and why are they doing that? Let me see if you understand. You're right. You're hitting my head.
Pretty much, I'm trying to figure out the word. Pretty much they're trying to do it because out of greed. They're killing out of greed, not out of the necessity.
Very good, very good, very good. Go to Sirach 31. Sirach 31. Let's read it. Verse 19.
Sirach, chapter 31, verse 19. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
It says a very little sufficient for a man well nurtured. Do you understand something today? You see people drinking a big gulp. They drink a 2-liter of soda. Do you understand there's only 2 chicken wings on a chicken? If I eat a 10-piece, and you eat a 10-piece, and you eat a 10-piece, and you eat a 10-piece, and each of us eat 10 pieces, that's 100 pieces of chicken, right? You needed 50 chickens just for us to each have a 10-piece. Oh no, I would have to kill 5 chickens to eat a 10-piece. You need 5. You need 5. You need 5. You need 5. Where are these chickens coming from? It says, little sufficient for a man well nurtured. It's because we are insatiable. I'm going to tell you something. When Esau came to the Americas, these conquistadors came into the Americas, and I say to the western hemisphere. And they ran into Simeon and Ephraim and Gad and them. When they hit those shores, do you know they said, and they fed these conquistadors. They said the conquistadors, listen to what I'm saying, the conquistadors, in 1 month would eat the food that would last them for 1 year. 1 month, they would eat the food that would last a family for 1 year. They were insatiable in their eatings. Watch this. Go from that to Sirach 37, verse 30.
Sirach chapter 37, verse 30. For excess of meats bringeth sickness.
See, when the righteous are ruling, they would understand this. The excess of meat will bring forth sickness. They will understand little is sufficient for the man well nurtured. They will understand that you take the egg and leave the dam that it may go well with thee. Esau will gather to this no more to gather up. So now let me ask you a question. They gather, go back to Deuteronomy 22. There's no more to gather up, right? It's all gone. Do me a favor, Lahad, give me 1 Timothy 6, verse 19. There's no more to gather up now.
First Timothy chapter 6, verse 19.
Hey, give me the, get a lie, just give me on the clone. Find it for me. I can't find it there. Go ahead.
First Timothy chapter 6, verse 19. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation.
1 Timothy 6:19.
Yes, sir.
It's 2 Timothy 6:19. I'm sorry. Those two. I didn't label them, and I'm having my system is moving slow right here, so just pull it up for me. Gotta read it. Huh?
You said 2 Timothy 6?
Which one? Science. Focus. What verse? It's 1 and 20, right?
6, 20.
What did I say?
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and oppositions of science, falsely so called.
The opposition of science. Their science is opposed to God's wisdom. It's opposed to what God is setting up. So they believe that they're wiser than God. I'm going to tell you something about cloning in a second. Is that it? Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me look myself. Oh, I can't see. This hurt my eyes. Is that what's one of the first ones I sent you in the email? Let me see. Scroll down a little bit. Let me see. That's not the one I'm looking for. Let me look here. Everybody, just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to get it in a second. I can't find it right now. Let's go back to Deuteronomy real quick. I'm going to come to that article in a second anyway. It might be in there, but let me just don't hold too much time. Exodus 22.
Verse 8, sir.
I'm in the wrong chapter, 1 second. 22, verse 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 8. When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thine house.
So it says, when you build a house, you build a battlement for your roof, that you don't bring blood upon your house. Now I'm asking a question. How does this work back into, I'm going to go through it quickly. Verses 1 through 4 is how to deal with your neighbor. Verses 5 is how a man and woman dress concerning why? The building of a nation. Verses 6 and 7 was how you deal with your animals concerning us having longevity and the building of a nation. How does build a battlement on your roof? What does that have to do with? What's the point of building a battlement? What is a battlement? Does anybody know what that is? Okay, you carpenters over there. You tell me, what is a battlement?
A battlement is it's a perimeter wall that extends above the roof of a house.
Very well. What's the point in building one? The verse says it.
It's a protection.
Right, it's a protection. It says that there be not blood upon your house. Now, what does that have to do with building a nation? What does that have to do with the building of a nation? So I ain't want to try it.
You have safety precautions in place. That way, it can prevent a death.
Right.
And that could help.
What
later.
kind of death? Okay, you're not. I don't know how to ask. I don't answer myself because I don't know how to ask.
A preventable death?
Yes, untimely death. So just watch this. He's saying this is the first building code in the Bible. Build it that there's not an untimely death. Think about this. All we're reading about is about building a nation and coming together. You got a home. You don't want somebody to come to your house and fall off your roof. Because back then, and we go through scriptures concerning, back then when we built homes, the rooftop was a lot of time we spent times on the rooftop. It was part of our house, right? We don't want anybody to fall off. Imagine Halez comes to my house, comes to visit me, and by chance he steps off because I don't have protection, he falls. That leaves his wife without a husband, without a children, without a father, never able to bear children. That doesn't promote, when you come to my house, I have a responsibility to make sure that you're protected, that you can make it home safe, that you can have a long-lasting life, that you can grow old. You came to visit me, and damn, it was simple, build a little wall that this man can make it home. He doesn't make it home because I didn't build that. God said, no. Us as a nation, we're going to have foresight. We know that if we eat the dam and the eggs, it shortened the life expectancy as a nation. We know if every woman's wearing pants and every man is wearing dresses, it's going to shorten the life expectancy of us. Sidebar. That's why homosexuality is big today, because Esau is promoting it. They said, we can't kill him with drugs. We're going to kill him in war. We're going to kill him, make them kill each other with a gun. We're going to kill him with homosexuality. We're going to find other ways with foods, ways to shorten their life expectancy. It doesn't promote with your brother if you are dealing deceitfully with him, building a nation. Now, I want you to go to the image of the battlement. I'm going to show you this real quick, and then we're going to get these scriptures on it real quick. Show me the battlement. Oh, let me see what verse. Yeah, okay, read it real quick. All right. And there was 2 images.
This is the definition of battlement. A parapet at the top of a wall, especially of a fort or a castle, that has regularly spaced square openings for shooting through.
Read on.
A section of roof enclosed by battlements.
Okay, now go to the images real quick. I'll give you 2 images. Okay, you see that around the top of the houses? That was what the officer was talking about, that was built above the roof so people won't easily fall off. Show me the other image. You see this in a lot of major cities, especially New York, rooftops. That was part of old building code, but the nations took off. So you see these houses today, how it's built on a slope with nothing there? It's against God's building code. That's why you see people climb up on a roof, doing roof and falling off of roofs. They do things out of course with how God builds things. We had rooftops, and there was a perimeter around it. Now watch, let's go through the scriptures so we can see it in the scriptures now. Go to 1 Samuel 9. All these things were in place for long life, longevity, that we can grow as a nation and control. 9. Now I want you to pull up, while we're doing this, just find me an image of a house today with a peak. What I asked for? 9:25. 1 Samuel 9:25.
1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 25. And when they were come down from the high place into the city, Samuel communed with Saul upon the top of the house.
Read on.
And they arose early, and it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Samuel to the top of the house, saying, Up, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out both of them, he and Samuel abroad.
I want you to read verse 26 again. Watch this.
And they arose early, and it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, Up, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out both of them, he and Samuel abroad.
So Saul and Samuel, they dwelt at the top of the house and hung out. That's why you build a battlement. Now watch this. Go to 2 Samuel, chapter 11. Give me 1 second with you. 2 Samuel 11. 11 and 2.
2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 2. And it came to pass in the eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon.
So David rose up out his bed and he began to walk upon the rooftop. Now show me your house today. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Do you understand how Esau is out of course with even with their building codes? It's out of course with what God has set up. This does not promote a nation going to stand. See what happened to rule this earth that was given to us, it was tailored for us. So only we would understand that the home is supposed to be like that. They won't understand this. It's not in their spirit. That's not what God set up. It's not how God wanted it. Only the righteous would understand that. Now watch this. Go to Acts 10 real quick, and then we're going to come back. So sometimes, I know a lot of times we read Deuteronomy 22 and 5, and we think that's what the whole chapter is, just staying there. There's a lot more between what God is saying in the Word. And all these prophets are going to understand these things to explain it. Acts 10, verse 9.
Acts chapter 10 and verse 9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour.
You think he went on a housetop that was a slope? Read on.
And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance.
And he slept where? On the rooftop. So it shows. So if you want to understand the scriptures, if OSHA was here, he would get fined for that. The first building code. The Most High showed us when we're in order, we're going to do things totally different from these nations. Our whole thing is about preserving the life, longevity of each of us, that we can live a full life and bring forth children and govern this earth. Let's go back. Verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Okay, so what does that mean? Who understands? Who wants to take a shot at that? Verse 9. Nobody? Okay, I guess okay, young man.
Like if you mix an apple with a blueberry, it can grow into a tree.
Okay, very good. Very good. You got some understanding there. So now read it one more time again.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Okay, who wants to try it now? Who wants to help explain that? What he said was right. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Brother Mikey Yell. It goes into cloning, how they're cloning these the fruit and the vegetables.
You know anything about the cloning?
I don't know, but I know that it's counterproductive. And what they do is, my rib and I, we love to buy fruit with seeds in it. But what they do is they make it so that you can't reproduce the fruit. So if I bought something with seeds, I can take that seed and grow my own. So they make it where as though you can only get that one, and that's it. You can't. It's not going to reproduce. It's only going to be able to be made for that one specific fruit or vegetable.
Well, damn. You're right. But I want you to stay right there. Now I'm gonna read this, and I want you to explain this part. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds. That's what you explained, right?
Yes, sir.
Now watch this. Less. What does the word less mean?
If?
No. Unless. Okay. The fruit of thy seed, which thou hast sown. What is that talking about?
The seeds that you sown, the same fruit.
No, let's go back.
All right.
Let's this again. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed, which thou hast sown, and the fruit of the vineyard be defiled. You got it. No, you got it. Okay, I'm going to help you another way. When you hear me raise my octave, that's when you pay attention, right?
Yes, sir.
thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seed, lest the fruit of thy seed, which thou hast sown, and the fruit of the vineyard be defiled.
Does that go into the nation? Like you shouldn't be. I was thinking that the first time it shouldn't be laying with a weak nation like Esau.
Don't go so deep.
Okay, so just
Which
don't-
you're right. That's not wrong, but that's not what I'm talking about right now.
Okay, so don't mix seeds.
Don't mix the seeds of the land, right?
Yes, sir.
Lest the fruit of thy seed. What's the fruit of your seed?
My children
Thank you. The fruit of thy seed, lost my place,
be defiled.
and the fruit of thy vineyard, we're back to the vineyard, be defiled. So what is it saying?
So everything is going to be defiled
Why?
because you are going against the Most High. Now,
How?
First of all, you broke a law.
But what stay right there.
Okay.
What law? What are you breaking right now?
The law of going with other nations.
No. We're not talking about nations now.
Okay, so the law of mixing seeds.
And if you mix seeds, the fruit of thy seed, what happens?
It's not an original. It's not.
No. The fruit of thy seed.
The fruit of my. That's
You
that's
got it. You
confusing.
got it. You got it. You're not.
All right.
You just okay.
All right, so please explain, sir.
Okay. Here we go. You were saying it. I'm just trying to get you. You were saying it. I'm just trying to get you to realize you was trying to say it. So read it. Oh, who else to try? Who else wants a shot? Oh, Zion. Thanks for joining us.
It's saying not to mix two different seeds, talking about, let's say, fruit, for instance, or the fruit of your seed. Your children are going to be, what's the word that it uses? Defiled.
Meaning what? How's your child going to be defiled?
Because you broke the commandment on mingling seeds.
Okay.
You want me to get a little deeper?
You can go ahead and hear it.
Well, you combining two seeds that weren't meant to be together, and
How does defile you? What is it?
your children eat it. It's not meant for it to be together. It can defile them.
How? What's defile? Change
Get
the word.
sick.
Thank you. Oh, that was hard. Okay, let's read it again from the top.
Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown,
What's the fruit of your seed, which you sown in your wife, read on,
and the fruit of thy vineyard
and the fruit that you plant in a vineyard,
be defiled.
that fruit is defiled, and your child will end up defiled. You understand that? Now let's go through something real quick. Gedaliah, if you can, I want you to put up that image of the salmon real quick. It's a picture. Salmon. Look how it's spelled. It takes out. It's a play on words. It says citrus. It's a Florida citrus fruit. Mid-State Distributors Inc. Paul Salmon, manager, Lakeland, Florida. Now his name is Salmon, right? That's his name. But why are they using a fish there? Because that devil, the vagabond, has intermingled the DNA of the fish with the orange. And I'm going to explain to you in a second what I mean by that. What happened, Esau, because his whole life is about money. He's a devil, who he is, right? Those that live in Florida, you would understand this, California, the orange industry is huge. If they ever have cold snaps, they can lose the whole crop, which could be billions of dollars. So because of their falsely so-called science, they have learned or tried to take the DNA from salmon who could withstand cold weather and intermingle it with the DNA of the fruit and the vegetables. Now here's the thing. When you ingest that into your body, it can break down or alter your DNA makeup. I think people are getting sick today. in a second. Let's just read this real quick. Go to Ezekiel. Now, I'm not telling you all freak out. Please, don't go too far. Watch this. Ezekiel 4:13.
Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat the defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
God said we're going to eat all defiled bread, which bread comes from the seed. It's going to be defiled while we're amongst the Gentiles. So God said, you're going to serve your enemies for the wants of all things. For what? What's the wants of all things? For what? In hunger, in thirst, in nakedness. Our food is defiled. What we drink is defiled with pollution. Our clothing is defiled with mixed garments. God said, you're going to serve your enemies for the wants of all things. So understand that. That's why, let's go to 1 Timothy 4. Verse 4. So I know you all thought Deuteronomy 22 and 5 is where the whole chapter is. Let's read.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 4. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused.
All creatures of God is good, nothing to be refused.
If it be received with thanksgiving. For it is sanctified by the word of God and prayer.
It is cleansed by the word of God and prayer. That's why it's important that you pray over your food that you eat. That don't mean eat pork. Come on, we understand the word of God tells you can't eat it. But before you sit down and you eat your food, you better pray to God, thank him that he give you this food to eat, that your body stay healthy, because the food out here ain't no good. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say Benjamin, but for most people, a lot of us eat fish. It is impossible to farm fish the way they farm fish and it continue. When I say farm, I'm talking about naturally farm. I'm talking about go out in the sea and go fish for fish. They have farms today where they farm fishes. You understand it's strictly business. These fishes never swim out of a small area. They feed it all manner of GMOs and all kind of stuff to get in fat. And we ingest that. It is impossible. That's why they want to kill us off. They have to make room on the earth. There's too many people. Though that disease that just passed, I can't name it because you know, but the big thing that's been talking about, they feed you unhealthy things to give you underlying health issues to get rid of you. But it tells us, let's go back to the point concerning these things. Okay, let's go to these articles real quick. I want you to go to Wikipedia, the one I gave you on the United Fruit Company. I gotta find it in the point I want in this one right now. Let me start right here. Okay, I'm gonna have to read it myself. Now I know about this because I'm Benjamin, but my family is from Honduras. They ended up in Honduras. And I know about this company, United Fruit Company, because my mother used to tell me about this when I was a child, that this company came, don't show me, I don't want to see me, that the town she's from, this company came in. And this company came throughout all the Caribbean, throughout Central and South America. It's called the United Fruit Company. Today you know it as Chiquita Bananas. There was another one, Dole. Anyway, they began to strip the land of its minerals. They would overplant and just plant. Anyway, they built my mother's town, small little town. They put housing out there. This is back in the 30s, 20s and 30s. They built housing. They brought an economy to the city. And then they planted for about 50 years until they stripped it bare and they just left it in decimation. So watch this real quick. Start reading the first part of that.
United Fruit Company. The United Fruit Company, now Chiquita Brands International, was an American corporation that traded in tropical fruit, primarily bananas, grown on Latin America plantations and sold in the United States and Europe. The company was formed in 1899 from the merger of Minor C. Keith's banana trading concerns with Andrew W. Preston's Boston Fruit Company. It flourished in the early and mid-20th century, and it came to control vast territories and transportation networks in Central America, the Caribbean coast of Colombia, and the West Indies, though it competed with the Standard Fruit Company, later Dole Food Company, for dominance in the international banana trade. It maintained a virtual monopoly in certain regions, some of which came to be called banana republics, such as Costa Rica, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Read on.
United Fruit had a deep and long-lasting impact on the economic and political development of several Latin American countries. Critics often accused it of exploitative neocolonialism.
Well,
In this,
show me where you at. You know, second. Okay,
right,
read on.
and described it as the archetypal example of the influence of a multinational corporation on the internal politics of the banana republics.
Okay, scrolling down a little bit. Let me see. Just scroll down. Scroll. Just keep on going real quick. Just scroll. Okay, stop right there. Let me see some real quick. Scrolling down. I forgot it. Just scroll. I'll find it. Okay. Had brought his first banana to Jamaica and president. Okay, going down right here. Now notice, look, it says bananas, but look what they have there. That's the logo. Look what they have there. They came in there with a gun. That's the logo. Now watch this. It's coming up. It's going down. Permanent member. Keep on going. Stop right there. Stop. Scroll. Okay. The one that said in addition.
In addition to many other labor actions, the company faced two major strikes of workers in South and Central America. In Colombia in 1928, and the Great Banana Strike of 1934 in Costa Rica. The latter was an important step that would eventually lead to the formation of effective trade unions in Costa Rica, since the company was required to sign a collective agreement.
Stop. Scroll down. That's not it. Just scroll. I got to see a picture. Banana. Stop right there. Stop right there. Scroll down. Stop right there. Okay. Reputation.
Reputation. The United Fruit Company was frequently accused of bribing government officials in exchange for preferential treatment, exploiting its workers, paying little by way of taxes to the governments of the countries where it operated, and working ruthlessly to consolidate monopolies.
You know what it means to work ruthlessly to consolidate monopolies? That logo showed you right there. They began to kill the people. That's how they did it there. If you wasn't laying down, they was going to put you down. And I'm going to go back to the point I'm trying to say, because it's a lot in there, and I can't find exactly what I was looking for. If you scroll, I'll see the photo. Just scroll down. Let me see if I see the photo of them. Keep on going. There's a photo, I believe it is. Stop right there. I'll keep on going down. Stop right there. Scroll down. Stop right there. Okay, here we go. Environmental effects. This is it right here. Read it.
Environmental effects. The United Fruit Company's entire process of creating a plantation to farming the banana, and the effects of these practices created noticeable environmental degradation when it was a thriving company.
So it's telling you that their planting process, the entire process of planting and farming, it caused a noticeable environmental degradation, meaning the land and the country began to fall apart. Read on.
Infrastructure built by the company was constructed by clearing out forests, filling in low, swampy areas, and installing sewage.
You understand what it means? It says clearing out forests. That's Thank you. That's the word I can't. It struck me. Do you understand what it does to the ground? The ground becomes unstable. Do you understand the deforesting they did throughout the Amazon? How it builds green gases? Because we emit carbon dioxide. The trees take it in, photosynthesis. Damn, I remember this from, trust me, I didn't go to school. Take it in, and they give us back H2O. Yeah, oxygen. Okay, I said H2O, right? I wasn't good at that. Don't laugh. Give us back oxygen. With the cutting down of these trees like that, that's why we have problems with the ozone layer today. That's why we have these green gases. The earth is beginning to warm up. Why? Because the righteous are not ruling. So I'm going to stay right here. Don't move from that screen at all, right? Let's finish reading on, then I get to it.
Infrastructure built by the company was constructed by clearing out forests, filling in low, swampy areas, and installing sewage, drainage, and water systems. Ecosystems that existed on these lands were destroyed.
Ecosystems were destroyed. Read on.
Devastating biodiversity. What they lost in biodiversity, other natural processes within nature necessary for plant and animal survival, are shut down.
Another word, the animals became extinct. All this had to do with them sowing seed in these lands. Now, I don't want to go into and I'm going to go into tomatoes in a second, but the banana you eat today is GMO. Some of us who was old enough, you remember bananas had little seeds in them. No longer. Today it's called, just type in the word for me, Cavendish banana. Leave that screen right there. Just type in another screen, open another tab, Cavendish banana, and just look up the word. Okay, so real quick. They began to plant and destroy the land. Now, let's read this real quick in the scriptures. Two things. Leviticus 25. And 4.
Leviticus chapter 25.
It's verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years shalt thou prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall it be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thine vineyard.
Read on.
That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thine vineyard undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land.
Right. So what happens? He said 6 years you could sow the land, but on the 7th year you didn't sow it. You let the trees grow. What happens to the fruit and everything? It falls and it refertilizes back the ground. Esau don't stop. He does not stop. He continues to forest until he strips all the minerals out the land till there's nothing left, and then he leaves and goes someplace else. His spirit is a spirit of destruction. He can't do any different. That's how he's bred to be. He's a beast that needs to be tamed and evicted. Watch this. Go to Isaiah 4. Watch what happens. We read this over and over and over again. But watch what God says. Look at God's wisdom. Isaiah 4 and 4.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
Wait a second. I don't think that's it. Let me see my notes. Isaiah 14. I'm sorry. Isaiah 14 and 4. Watch this.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased.
Some of America. This is prophetic. Read on.
The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
Read on.
He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
We were the people being smote with that continuous stroke. Read on.
He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth.
And nobody's going to help him. Now look what happened when he becomes persecuted. Listen to what it says. Read.
The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing.
Read on.
Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us.
The fellow is the axeman, the work who deforests the trees. It says the trees are going to rejoice. That's why I said the trees have a spirit on them. This earth has a spirit on it. The spirit is God. It says these trees. Why? Because they're no longer going to deforest this earth no more. It's going to stop. The righteous is going to come back in authority, and we know that everything that God made is good. It has a purpose. It was his wisdom that it's here. And we're going to know how to take care of it. Let's go back to that up there. Show me Cavendish. The Cavendish banana. Does it tell you that it was a dwarf of the commercially imported? Okay, read it. What? The third one? Okay, read.
This is the Cavendish bananas. They are unable to reproduce sexually, instead being propagated via identical clones. Due to this, genetic diversity of the Cavendish banana is very low. The extreme lack of any biodiversity and the fact that the Cavendish is planted in dense chunks in a monoculture without any other natural species or plants buffering them.
So, I would read on.
Means the Cavendish is extremely vulnerable to disease.
So now I'll tell you, this Cavendish banana is very vulnerable because it's not sexual, meaning it doesn't reproduce. It's a clone. Go up, I want you to show that's the banana you eat today. That's not the original bananas. You see bananas, some bananas, they're really small in the Caribbean. This banana was cloned because it was made to last, to withstand. It's strictly about profit for them. So finish that, go back down.
The Cavendish is extremely vulnerable to disease, fungal outbreaks, and genetic mutations.
So let me ask you a question. If it's susceptible to genetic mutations, that means it's susceptible to changing its biological makeup. And that's what we ingest. That's why you better pray over your foods. That's why we ingest into our body something that is vulnerable to genetic mutation. Read on.
Possibly leading to eventual commercial extinction.
Eventually, it will be extinct. It's saying. So watch this. Why is there a problem with all this? Let's go back to the beginning. Genesis. Genesis 1. I want you to read verse 27.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him.
Read on.
Male and female created he them.
Read on.
And God blessed them.
And God what?
And God blessed them.
Read on.
And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it.
God said, be fruitful, man. Multiply and subdue the earth. The earth and everything on it is supposed to be under our subjection. Read on.
And have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
We're supposed to have dominion and control over it. All his creation was meant for us to be in control of. Read on.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed,
I've given you every herb that bears a seed. Read on.
which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
God said, I created every herb, every tree, every animal. God said, I created it. Now watch what he says. Read on.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
And God said, and this is what I want. Read on.
And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good.
No, it was okay.
It was very good.
Nah, it can use some perfection.
It was very good.
God said, damn it, I made everything and it was good. Who the hell are you to change what I made? Oh, you want to change what I made? Okay, then. Now I'm going to give you sicknesses behind it. Why all of a sudden cancer has taken over? This one is dying. It's like, this person look healthy. What was wrong with them? God said, I gave you every animal, every tree bearing food to eat, and I said it's good. And the white man, with his falsely so-called science, says, no, I'm going to intermingle a salmon's DNA with an orange. Let's go back to these images. Okay, so I want to go real quick, Galiah. Let me go back to this telegram. Done. I want you to pull up link 4. Oh, I never noticed that you put links next to them, so it would have made life so much easier for you. Link 4. I want you to read, link 4. Okay, scroll down. Scroll, right. Okay, right there. Read that for me.
What is deforestation? Deforestation is the clearing, destroying, or otherwise removal of trees through deliberate, natural, or accidental means. It can occur in any area densely populated by trees and other plant life, but the majority of it is currently happening in the Amazon rainforest.
Right, that's them stripping down this, that's what it says. We read it in Isaiah 14, and the cedars and Lebanon shall rejoice and say there's no fella is come up against it. This is in a spirit. God made them to be like that. They can't help it. That's just who they are. Read on. Read on, I'm sorry.
The loss of trees and other vegetation can cause climate change, desertification, soil erosion, fewer crops, flooding, increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and a host of problems for indigenous people.
So what comes about from this, they don't understand governing it, the climate change, weather change. What happens? Not enough trees. We keep on breathing out this carbon dioxide. It doesn't have no place to displace and come back in. It goes up, tears up the ozone layer. It says soil erosion. That's why you have mudslides and all these things happening. Because why? The righteous is not ruling the earth. It's time to evict the vagabond. It's time for him to go. And when he goes, God's going to burn this up and give us a because the ocean is polluted, the earth is polluted. Okay, I don't want to go through that. Including from deforestation, incursion, deforestation. I don't want to scroll up. Keep on going. Keep on going. Okay, here, effects. Okay. Read that real quick.
Yes, sir. Environmental effects of deforestation from above. Loss of habitat. One of the most dangerous and unsettling effects of deforestation is the loss of animal and plant species due to their loss of habitat.
So what happened? The animals are extinct. What happens? No, 1 second. I want you to hold that. Go to 2 Ezra 5. Five and 8.
2 Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft set out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places.
The wild beasts shall what?
Shall change their places.
You begin to tear down these foresters, and these animals now have to relocate out of the different places. Animals are moved across. Do you understand tearing down what it does to the ecosystem? We talking about animals, I'm talking about bugs, things that are out there to cleanse this earth, that are there to pollinate. Now, for you younger people, many of you may not know what I'm talking about. For you older ones, you're going to get it in a second. It's going to be easy. Remember there was a time when you saw fireflies, when you saw ladybugs, when you saw butterflies, when you saw bumblebees. You don't see that no more on earth like that, or very little. There was a time when you would wake up and every morning you would see dew on the grass. Even in New York City we saw dew. Now you see pee. Crack vials. Styrofoam containers, plastic. Let me ask you a question. Do you understand pumping oil out of the earth? What is it doing to the earth underneath us? You understand the oil was a lubricant to keep these plates from shifting? Watch this real quick. I want to go to link 10. Is that link 10 or 1 second? Let me see. That's link 11. Just give me 1 second. Link 11. Link 11. Scroll down. Okay, let me read that first part right there.
Drilling for earthquakes. Scientists are increasingly confident about the link between earthquakes and oil and gas production, yet regulators are slow to react.
Scroll down to in brief. Right there.
In brief, earthquake rates in Oklahoma and Texas have skyrocketed.
Stop. What do you find odd about earthquakes in Oklahoma and Texas? This is the center of the country. This is on bedrock right here, middle of the country. This ain't towards the coast now. This place ain't known for earthquakes. Ain't known for the Oklahoma earthquakes? No. Well, what happened? Let's see.
Earthquakes. Rates in Oklahoma and Texas have skyrocketed since 2008. The cause, scientists say, is injecting wastewater from oil and gas operations into deep underground wells.
So now they're taking the waste from the oil and they're injecting it into underground wells to fill back up the voids in which they left there. God made the earth and said it was good. And here you go now, changing it and expecting that to be no repercussions behind changing it? I mean, when God said it was good and it be so, it was a period. It wasn't like, well, let's just add on to what he says. God said, okay, now I'm going to start punishing this earth. You go ahead. How many gallons of oil can you think you're going to pull from the earth and it does not cave in? You know something? The earth was made for our sakes. We would understand the effects of that. We understand, no, we won't do that. We don't.
The injections can alter stresses that hold geological faults together, letting them slip, unleashing an earthquake.
All praises, Esau. I love what you're doing with yourself. Go up to link 10. Read.
This is the article of the conversation. Fossil fuel extraction could be contributing to climate change by heating Earth from within. Almost all scientists agree that burning fossil fuels is contributing to climate change, but agreement is less clear-cut on how exactly it's influencing rising global temperatures.
We don't.
The world is now 1
degree
warmer than it was in pre-industrial times.
So 1 degree warmer, you think 1 degree doesn't seem significant. Yeah, until you start melting that ice. You don't understand the repercussions by flooding out lands, killing off animals and insects that were meant to be there. God said, I have a third part of this earth that's going to be dry. 2/3 is going to be water. That was his design. And because of burning fossil fuels that you extract from the ground, it caused earthquakes, which in turns now is causing global warming. This whole earth is out of course. I don't want to read all this because I'm not going to get through all this class, but you get the links. You can go back and read it yourself, all right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 22. Because we was talking about, I want to go back to these, this cloning of animals and stuff like that. Deuteronomy 22, read about that seed again. I got into something else just now.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Now watch this. Let's go to link 8. Oh, some of you are going to be a little perturbed when you read this, but it is what it is. Read it. Read the orange.
The orange is the fruit of various citrus species in the family Rudaceae, I believe. It primarily refers to Citrus X sinensis.
That's good enough.
Which is also called sweet orange. To distinguish it from the related Citrus aurantium, referred to as bitter orange, the sweet orange reproduces asexually, approximates through nuclear embryony. Varieties of sweet orange arise through mutations.
Stop. So I want you to click on a hyperlink for nuclear embryony. Read that. I don't want you to. You could just open it up like. Let's go back. I don't need all that. Just, I shouldn't say click on it, but you know what I meant to do. Just hover over it. Read that.
Nuclear embryony is a form of seed reproduction that occurs in certain plant species, including many citrus varieties. Nuclear embryo is a type of apoptosis where eventually nuclear embryos from the nucleus tissue of the ovule are formed, independent of meiosis and sexual.
Now watch this. Let that go. Let that go. Now scroll down. Watch this. Now read the next paragraph.
The orange is a hybrid between pomelo and mandarin.
So orange wasn't an orange. It came from two different species to make what you call an orange today. It came from what?
The orange is a hybrid between pomelo and mandarin.
Click on the hyperlink for hybrid.
Scroll up. Hybrid.
Okay, let's read that.
In biology, a hybrid is the offspring resulting from combining the qualities of two organisms of different breeds.
Okay, so oranges, a hybrid, comes from two different breeds of plants. You can let that go now. Two different seeds of fruits make up today what we call the orange. So, link 9, watch this. Can we read the article? It's required. You can't. Okay, just click the bottom part of it, what I sent you, because I'm able to open it up. You can't get it? Okay, well, I'm going to see a screenshot. Okay, if you want to just read that, you can read that part. If you get it, you get it.
A race to save the orange by altering its DNA.
Okay, by altering its DNA, read on.
In Clewiston, Florida, the call Ricky Crest and every other citrus grower in Florida dreaded came when he was driving.
Okay, where you at? Okay, I want to read a little bit. Okay, scroll down. Scroll. Greenery, chop slow, insurgent, chop, dozen trees, and sprayed. Keep on going. Stop right there. They scored Central Florida 500,000 acres of emerald groves and sent search parties around the world to find naturally immune trees that could serve as new progenitors for the crop that had thrived in the states since its arrival. It is said, Ponce de Leon, but such trees did not exist. Scroll down. Keep on going. Okay, right there. Go back up a little bit. Okay, verse. You hear me? In all the citrus, but perhaps not in all of nature, with the precipitous decline of Florida's harvest predicted within the decades, the only chance left to save it, talking about the orange, Mr. Crest believed was one that his industry and others had long avoided for fear of consumers' rejection. They would have to alter the orange's DNA with a gene from a different species. Okay, scroll. Stop right there. Oh, go down a little more. Keep on going, up, right there. But the idea of eating plants and animals whose DNAs were manipulated in a laboratory called genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, spooked many people. Critics was worried that such crops carry risk not yet detected, and distrust the big agrochemical companies which have produced the few in wide use. Read on. I want you to read now.
And hostility toward the technology, long ingrained in Europe, has deepened recently among Americans as organic food advocates. Environmentalists and others have made opposition to it a pillar of a growing movement for healthier and ethical food choices.
So What's this? Scrolling down. I want you to get to a point where it says, because oranges. Keep on going. Slow down, slow down. Right there.
Because oranges themselves are hybrids and most seeds are clones of the mother. New varieties cannot easily be produced by crossbreeding. Unlike, say, apples, which breeders have remixed into favorites like Fuji and Gala. But the vast majority of oranges in commercial groves are the product of a type of genetic merging that predates the Romans, in which a slender shoot of a favorite fruit variety is grafted onto the sturdier roots of other species.
So the whole point behind I want to get it is that the oranges are genetically modified that you see today, right? Okay, watch this. There's more to it, but you have a chance to read on your own. I want you to go to link 7.
I pray y'all brothers and sisters are really paying attention to what Bishop is bringing out. In Deuteronomy 22, the spirit of us building a nation from 1, as he said, 1 through 4 is going into us, how we dealing with each other, all right, how we are making sure that our brother and sisters are taken care of, all right, loving our neighbors ourselves. As well as Bishop bringing out how the spirit of everything, Esau is mocking the Most High by his movies as well. How he put out all these with destructive movies, with the going into the earthquakes and them drilling for oil and things of that nature. How he mocking the Most High in his movies as well. All right. What else? You got it. Okay. Let's see. Go to Deuteronomy 22, where Bishop at.
What verse, Captain?
Verse 4.
Deuteronomy.
I'm sorry, 11.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 11. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together.
I'm bad. Go to 9 now.
Verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Right. So it's saying, like Bishop brought out, that we will be defiled, meaning our children. It goes into our children not being healthy, having to go and do what now? Take these quote-unquote vaccinations. All these things have a part to play in us and our health. Everything goes back to our health. The food that we eat, the defiled food we eat, goes into how our health is deteriorating. The cancer, the high blood pressure, the gout, the this, that, and the third, All these things affect us. All right. That's why we have to turn back, as the Bishop Nathaniel been putting in us and encouraging us to eat healthier. All right. And we know our food defile, but we have to, best with us, within us, be able to eat better, work out, you know what I'm saying, burn the fat, as the bishop been bringing out, all right? This is all for our help. So as we're reading, as Bishop bringing out in 22, Deuteronomy, all this plays together, a part of us as a nation to continue to grow, all right?
Man, I can't find what I'm looking for. Let's go back. I thought I had it in the link. I mean, I put it in this in the chat. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 22 and 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
So now we understand it, that we're not to sow diverse seeds in the ground, lest the fruit of old seed become defiled, or children become defiled with it. Now we know that we don't control the foods today. That's why it's imperative that you pray for your food, that you move right, because it's by the grace of God that we're surviving all that this witch is doing on this earth. This Frankenstein, and mixing the seed of oranges with salmon, mixing the seed of salmon with tomatoes. That's what I was looking for, the DNA breakdown. This is what Esau is becoming. They're trying to become God on earth. Remember, it says in Wisdom of Solomon, when he gave Solomon the understanding of the manipulation of elements. Give me that real quick. And I'm going to stop it on that, and I'll pick up this next week because there's still much more in the chapter to go into, and I don't want to race through it. But give me that real quick.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made.
He gave Solomon to understand how the world was made.
And the operation of elements.
And the operation of elements is the operation of what they call the periodic table today, how God will take oxygen, hydrogen to make water. They are trying to get on a molecular level, a DNA level, to be able to what? Change men into women. Take a man, hit him with estrogen that he can grow breasts, give women, what do men have?
Testosterone.
That she can grow a beard. That's them. That's their science. It's witchcraft. The manipulation of elements. Read on.
Verse 18. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times.
They want to understand that how things are created from the beginning, how things are going to end. Read on.
The alterations of the turning of the sun.
That's meteorologists and scientists. They want to understand. They want to go into space and understand, why does the sun move like that. Read on.
And the change of seasons.
And they want to understand the manipulation of season. Do you know something? If they could, they've been doing this for a while. If they learn how to control weather, they can use that in warfare. They can go into countries and change the weather and make a climate. You know something? If you're able to go into a country and control the weather and use it for war, you can go in a country that never experienced cold. And you, who are trained to be in cold, you just make it snow over there. You'll cripple their army. That's why they cut off waterways. They understand that understanding how to manipulate something, how to manipulate the weather, cause storms, can either flood out countries, can starve them out of thirst, can cause wars in different places. They want to become God on earth. Read on.
The beginning, ending, and midst of times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons.
Read on.
The circuits of years and the position of stars, the natures of living creatures, and the furies of wild beasts.
They want to understand why some animals tear flesh, why other animals eat grass. They intermingle lions and tigers and make all manner of diverse animals that God did not ordain. Read on.
The violence of winds and the reasonings of men.
And they want to understand the reasonings of men, how men think, so they can know how to manipulate it. Read on.
The diversity of plants and the virtues of roots.
They want to understand the diversity of plants. Do you know this in Congress or in DCS to say that all the original seeds of every plant that was created, you know, Esau had them tucked away in a vault underground? And then they started with what we know today is Monsanto and all these things where they put out all these GMO. They keep that just in case that when this is destroyed, if they can survive, they have the original seeds where everything comes from. You still have a chance of eating a little healthier when you go out of this country, because certain countries don't accept GMOs. Definitely in the Caribbean you might find it, but even there, they're trying to destroy it. Many of those Caribbean countries don't even eat the stuff. They're eating rice as plastic and all kind of stuff today. But Esau wants to understand it. So everybody, listen, I'm going to stop today. I don't want to continue on because we're well over the time. We got it ready for Bishop's class. Stay tuned the next week, and we'll finish off this series of Life Permits on the vagabonds must be evicted, all right? Everybody say, strong Lord.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.